The Bible relates many of the healings of Jesus. People healed include those who came to Jesus and those called out by Jesus. John 5, what we just heard, the man on the pallet. Luke 13, the bent-over woman. Mark 5, the woman suffering from hemorrhaging. A special type of healing by Jesus was this casting out of demons, not just of the body, but of the mind of the afflicted. Mark 1, 31 to 34. And Jesus cast out many demons, and he would not permit the demons to speak because they knew him. Matthew 8, 14. They brought him many who were possessed by demons. What part did those healed by Jesus have in their own healing? In 2 Corinthians 13:5, the Apostle Paul asked the Corinthians a question. Do you not realize that Jesus Christ is in you? Jesus himself had doubts when on the cross he said, my God, why have you abandoned me? How can we find the Jesus, the Christ, that is in all of us? The Jesus who said, your faith will make you well. The Jesus who said, what we offer is ourselves. How have I contributed to my problem? Through the choices you make. How do you find the courage to make your life better? Where can we find a vaccine against a difficult life? How can I find compassion and gratitude for myself? This is the crux of what we will look into to discover. Trauma. Trauma is the demons within us. Not just demons of the body, physical illness, but demons of the mind, mental illness, and addiction. Listen to a poem of Joey Carter, who was possessed by the demons of drug addiction. I misbehave when I crave to push the venom in my veins. I lose all control of my inner soul, and my dreams are hold all the reins. I deceive whoever believes. I twist their open trust. With nefarious precision and tunnel vision, I pursue the venom with lust. With desire so strong, I forget all bonds, hurting the ones I adore. And even though they love me, they move on from me to let me fight my war. Uncontrollably, I'm inconsolable. Slowly, I'm dying inside. A glutton of such, I've used too much. Now there's no life in my eyes. The trauma within us may start in childhood. and be carried by us all through our lives. Babies need physical attachment to their parents. They also need authenticity, the connection to themselves. Children are dependent on relationships, attachment, and empathy. How many times have we heard parents say to their child, "Don't talk to strangers"? A Greek playwright wrote that the gods created us human beings so that we would have to suffer into truth. We have to see the human in us and not what's happened to us. Every human being has a true, genuine, authentic self, and that true, authentic, genuine self can never be destroyed. It is with our minds we create the world, and we respond by staying in the past. Of all the choices that happen to us, we create the worst. Actually, it is the mind, the demons within us, that create the worst. Dr. Gabor Mate, in the documentary The Wisdom of Trauma, said, "If you see others as the problem, then you are a victim. If you see yourself as the problem, then you're powerful." When we realize that our traumatic responses are not ourselves, we can work through them and thus become ourselves. The actress Rita Moreno, who broke into stardom as Maria in West Side Story, relates her recovery from attempted suicide early in her career. She said, "Having to examine yourself and finding value in yourself is the only way to become a whole person. Once you've found that warm glow of self-recognition, you won't feel the shadows anymore." But a lot of us still do. It's interesting. We keep dragging our past into the present. So I'm blessed. Damn the shadows, and here's to the light. Take, for example, when illness comes into our lives. The common traits of virtually all afflictions, physical illness, mental disease, are in fact trauma. Medicine separates the mind from the body. Physical illness can't be treated by just handing out prescriptions. Prescriptions, while valuable, are not the answer. They are Band-Aids. They should be viewed as a stopgap measure until we get to the heart of the problem. And that is, why this disease? Why in this person? And why now? The truth is inside all of us. We have to ask the right questions to arrive at that truth. As the Buddha said, we don't respond to what happens, we respond to the perception of what happens. Ways of being involved in your health care include these. Not all, but some. Understand what your doctor is doing. Set goals to achieve outcomes. Set personalized prescription plans with your doctor. And then envision your body without the illness. Lester Levinson, the founder of the Sedona method, has said, we can't have a sick body without holding a mental picture of sickness. It's almost impossible to hold anything in the body that's not in the mind. Nelson Mandela, the president of South Africa, has said, even if you have a terminal illness, you don't have to sit down and mope. Enjoy life and challenge the illness that you have. Here is an example in the area of mental health of what not to do, and a psychiatrist's answer to that. Psychiatrist Otto Rank was at one time an associate of Sigmund Freud in Vienna. One day he stopped in to see him at his office. He met a lady coming out and recognized her. He had seen her before, and she was one of Freud's regular patients. When he got inside, he said, Herr Freud, hasn't that lady been coming here a long time? Oh, yes, said Freud. She's been coming here a long time. Well, how long has she been coming for treatment? Oh, about 3 years. 3 years? Ronk exclaimed. Is she cured? No, Freud said. She is not cured. Well, but you still take her money. You still encourage her to come for treatments. Oh, yes, said Freud. I'm very much interested. I shall probably write a book about her. This made Dr. Frank do something very search his heart. He went away with a feeling of righteous indignation. What's wrong here? He asked himself. Freud had done some marvelous analysis of the woman, yet Rank pondered. He has never roused her will for cooperation. Freud had done a beautiful diagnosis. He was going to write a book about this woman, but he had not cured her. Dr. Rank separated himself from Freud, set up his own office, and began to work with the idea of will therapy. When his patients came to him, he would take out his notebook, make a preliminary examination and diagnosis, look up to the patient and say, with full cooperation, you should be well in, say, 3 months. Will you work with me toward a perfect cure in those 3 months? The patient would usually answer, yes, doctor. He would put down the date in his notebook. He tells us in one of his writings that most of his patients did get well before the date they agreed upon. He aroused and enlisted the will of the patient from the beginning. Dr. Rank's method also involved a powerful auto-suggestion. Looking forward towards the recovery, the patient's cure began when he could say, I will be well. I will work to this end and expect to succeed in this purpose. We must go beyond the human mind into the spiritual mind to really find ourselves. That is coming to the water. Trauma, excuse me. One of the stories is the story with the man with the withered hand. I have that in my heart. Okay. Thank you. Trauma, the demons within us keep us in the past. We remain in our childhood, our cocoons, our bulbs, and our seeds. We never mature into the true being that Christ and God has said we are. The first step in our transformation into the true being is to pick up our pallets and come to the water to be transformed by the Christ within us into our true being and spirit. Here are two ways we can do that. Isaiah 41. Isaiah 41, verse 10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. In conclusion, there is a prayer done by the Alcoholics Anonymous that is wonderful for all of us, not just for the ones that have afflictions. It is the Serenity Prayer of Reinhold Niebuhr. And this holds the nut and the truth that we all can do, not just those afflicted with addiction. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Encourage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace. Taking, as he did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. Amen. May we all look at our lives and saying, we are not the problem. Are the demons within us, the things we see, we perceive to see, not that we see, will make us the better person. So we can go out and reach each other in love and compassion. Thank you.